Yeah.
So what inspired you to create this project specifically, and who was this project created in partnership with?
So Ophir came about. So okay, where do I start? Uh, so when the pandemic hit,
Yes.
it opened my eyes to a lot of things, and one of those things was really the plight of these churches. I come from a black, you know, uh, my family's always had means. I've never really, I've kind of lived in a bubble. Let me put it that way.
Fair enough. Okay.
And this was the first time though that because I was very involved in uh, going out there and helping during the lockdowns, because it was utter devastation, man. Especially
Sure it was.
like the Philippines,
Yeah.
and it was really the poor that were affected. So you literally had people who were starving during that time. And I can go on a rant about all that, but so I was very active. I got to know a number of different groups who were trying to help, providing goods, early treatment, and it was through that I met some of these church leaders who we're now working with. One specifically, the chairman of the organization that is the primary beneficiary for Ophir. They're called GemAffect. His name is Roy Gonzalez.
Mhm.
So I met him because he was just out there, with his team at the front lines, and really self-sacrificially, helping, and so I was really moved by that. Got to know him, and then got to know many of the churches. And so GemAffect is a council of 100 churches. They work in or they operate in a province called Cavite, more specifically a region in Cavite called GMA, and it's one of the poorest areas in the Philippines. And this was the first time that I actually I got to visit like many of these churches. And what you see, all the there are a lot of well-resourced churches. Maybe a lot is the wrong way to put it, but what we see is like all these mega churches and all the glitz and glam and production and whatever else. And but those are like by far the exceptions. And here in the Philippines, right, this was the first time that I saw on the ground how the conditions that the vast majority of these churches operate.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm talking about like people who receive donations in bananas and fruit, and this is in the city still, right?
Right.
It's not like far off, like remote areas. So places without their basic necessities, without roofs, or without and many of the people, many of the pastors and missionaries who are serving in these communities have given up good paying jobs to do what they're doing, and they're so poorly resourced. And so that's what really kind of like brought about the burden to step out and to find solutions to all of this, to the point that my heart just really broke for these guys. And I left the family business to just immerse myself fully. I mean, I also saw, like, it happened at around the same time that I just became completely convinced that blockchain was the future of money, right? I mean, I was studying exponential technologies. There's a book called Exponential Organizations by a guy named Salim Ismail. I highly recommend it. And it talks about how you have all of these technologies that are advancing at an exponential rate.
Yes.
Right, on their own, and but add to that the synergy of these technologies, right? Then it's just out of this world what is happening. And so I was aware of that there is an abundance in this world, right? And the innovation of man knows no limit. And so combining those two, right, seeing the plight of these churches and knowing that there is an abundance out there, and knowing that that this, I'm quite passionate about how I really think that this scarcity model that we've been programmed with is a bunch of BS. And so just combining those two and becoming fully aware that we're living through a time that's similar to like printing press coming
Yeah,
about.
very good analogy.